Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm going to be your host and producer this evening, Logan Landers, and joining me to talk about this NCAA Week 7 college football preview between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the USC Trojans, as always, Mr. Football. Vincent Turner, how you doing today, sir?
Hey, how you doing today, Mr. Logan Landers?
I am doing great today, sir, on this Thursday evening. Excited to talk about some college football. Before we get started, though, if you enjoyed the episode, once again, like, comment, share, and subscribe on Facebook and on YouTube where we stream our episodes. And also check out our podcast, 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio, on any major podcast streaming platform that you prefer. Well, let's get into this matchup here. The USC Trojans and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Notre Dame comes into this matchup ranked number 21, while USC is number 10. Looking at the Fighting Irish first and foremost, the year started off great for them. 4 straight wins, and then they ran into the Ohio State. We talked about that loss a couple of weeks ago. Then they got the close win against Duke, 21-14. Coming off a tough loss last week, though, fell to the Louisville Cardinals 33-20 final score in that one. So they're been on a bit of a slide here, hoping to get back on track, Coach Marcus Freeman and company. Let's take a deep dive at this team, see who's going to be doing what, and who are some of the key players coming into this matchup. First and foremost, it's got to be the QB, Sam Hartman. So far on the year, he's looked really strong. 1,712 yards for the young man, 16 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, and he's been sacked 11 times on the year. Running game, you have a pretty diverse set of guys here with Audric Estime, 692 yards for him, 105 carries, hit the end zone 7 times as well. Behind him, you got backups Jeremiah Love and Brian Payne helping him out with about 350, 400 yards combined between those two gentlemen there, 2 touchdowns as well. So very balanced attack. Like I said, as a team, they've gotten close to 1,200 yards rushing on the season with 12 touchdowns. Receiving core, you got Mitchell Evans, the tight end, putting in work there. You got Chris Tyree. You got Jaden Greathouse, as well as Tobias Merriweather, all putting up good work. All those guys, you got to be able to circle them on your program, see where they're at each and every single Saturday. Rico Flores as well, second on team in catches with 14. And Holden State's another great tight end there helping him out. He's got 4 touchdowns on the year. Looking at the defense for this team, I mean, this is a team where you look at this and you think, man, this team should be really rolling here. And so far, they've looked pretty good, but they can always strengthen up just a little bit each and every single week. That's how you get better as a football program. That's how you get back on track, a strong defensive performance. They're going to need this week against USC. Of course, you got to look at the D-line. You got Howard Croft there leading your team in tackles with 42. Right behind him, though, is J.D. Bertrand. He's got 41 on the season. Jack Kaiser coming in third with 36. Now, when you look at this team, they've got 11 sacks on the year, but the only guy who's got more than 1 is Jordan Belfalo. He's your defensive lineman there. He's only got 2 on the season. Passes defended, ball hawks in the backfield. You got 5 from Benjamin Morrison. Interceptions, you've got Xavier Watts getting 2. Morrison getting 1, and also Raymond Henderson grabbing 1 as well. 6 interceptions on the season. So I think Notre Dame, they're really looking to get back on track this week after losing 2 of your last 3 and getting a close win in that one you did win against Duke. But I think it's going to be, if Notre Dame wants to get back on track and get serious about contending, they've got to get this ball game here. Mr. Turner, what do you see with Notre Dame this week?
I say Notre Dame is a well-tested team coming into this football game. They played probably the toughest schedule in the nation. When you look at who they played, they went on the road against North Carolina State. They had the close game with Ohio State. They went on the road against Duke. And then last week they played a very good Louisville team that a lot of people really didn't see that coming. I'm going to say this. Sam Hartman is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the game. He's got to play well on Saturday, which I expect him to do. Then when you look at Notre Dame, from a standpoint they are a physical football team that likes to run the ball. Last week against Louisville, this is the major stat that stuck out to me. They only gained 20 yards on the ground. Mm-hmm. And then their offensive line that want to be or was supposed to be one of the best in the country gave up 8 tackles for loss last week against Louisville. But playing against a USC team that's ranked 98th in the country, I would say their offense is going to bounce back on this Saturday because there is 500 of total yards on the table with 40 points. I think Notre Dame is going to be ready to play this game. They've had 2 very tough losses, and last week against Louisville was a very hard loss for Marcus Freeman and the Fighting Irish.
Yes, sir. Let's flip the script here. Talk about the USC Trojans. Once again, ranked number 10 in the country, a perfect 6-0. But Vincent, it has not been an easy 6-0, especially these past 2 weeks. Of course, with Arizona got the win last week in triple overtime, 43-41 in that one. An unranked Arizona team also. And then Colorado, who's had a tremendous season, got the close one against them, 48-41. And look, this is what we talk about every year for the past few seasons since Lincoln Riley has been the head coach for USC, and even back when he was at Oklahoma. It's the defense, Vincent. It's the Achilles heel for all of these teams. We know the offense is going to do its thing, but the defense is really what hurts this team. And this is their first. This is going to be a big test to them to see if they are going to be able to show up this week, or if we're going to be doing what we've been seeing from them, and that's giving up a lot of yards and a lot of points. Looking at USC, obviously at quarterback, you've got your Heisman winner from last season. Looking good this year also in Caleb Williams. 1,822 yards for him, 22 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. He's looked phenomenal this year, and I expect him to probably still be up there, at least in contention for the Heisman, if not winning it again so far with how he's looked. Your running game, you've got Marshawn Lloyd leading your team, over 500 yards for him. He's at the end zone 4 times. Austin Jones, the backup, he's also gotten the end zone 4 times. And Caleb Williams, what can't he do? He's gotten the end zone 6 times with his legs. He can do everything. And that's also, Vincent, on a 71% completion percentage. That means he's efficient. He can get the ball down there. And he's doing it at a high clip. Receiving yards, you got guys like Taj Washington, Brendan Rice, Mario Williams, Deuce Robinson, Zachariah Branch. You've got just a slew of guys who are getting the ball a lot and who are making things happen with a great quarterback. Defense, this is the tough point. This is some guys who got to step up. Jalen Smith, he's leading your team in tackles by a large margin. That's your safety. You don't want your safety to be leading the team in tackles. I know that much. Mm-hmm. So he's got there with 41. Sacks, I will say, Vincent, they are good in getting sacks in this team. They've got 22 on the season. Jamil Muhammad, he's got 6. Solomon Byrd, he's got 5 right behind him. So they are able to at least get to the quarterback. But we all know, we do know a lot of those did come against Colorado, which we know we've talked about their struggles on the O-line, but still, 22 sacks through 6 games, that's still impressive. Pass defender, you got 23, and you only got 4 interceptions on the year. Got to get some more turnovers on that defense, but look, we all know how USC is going to play, Vincent. We know they're going to be coming out gunslinging, ready to run on offense. Defense, that's just a question mark for me each and every single week. What are your thoughts?
You're looking at USC and you're looking at Lincoln Riley. Obviously, you got to look at his resume, and I'm talking about before he got to USC. He's a guy that obviously knows offense. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, now Caleb Williams. He's had some great quarterbacks at their position in both schools, Oklahoma and USC. When you look at the Trojans, they're number 1 in the nation in scoring. They're 4th in the nation in total offense. They got the best player in the country, the young man from Washington, D.C., Caleb Williams, has got 21 touchdowns and 1 INT. But the thing that amazes me, when Lincoln Riley took this job, did you have in your mind that not only that if you're going to win national championships, because that's what you promised the USC football nation, national championships. Mm-hmm. You're going out to California, YA, the city of Compton, Hollywood, the city of Angels, John Wayne. The bottom line, you got to play defense. And when you're looking at it, USC has not played a full game. They've been very great offensively. As I said, they're number 1 in the nation in scoring. They got the best player in the country. But it's going to always go so far. Think about last year. They went into the Pac-12 championship game against Utah. What happened in that football game? Caleb Williams got injured. His hamstring got bad on him in that game. USC defense could not stop Utah in the second half, and Utah ended up winning that game 47-24. Well, the Trojans have been very lucky. Last week against Arizona, that was a freshman quarterback that was going all up down the field with Arizona. Shedeur Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes put 41 points on them. And I thought coming into this season, Logan, USC with the transfer portal, when they got Barry Alexander, who we know about because we broadcast here locally out of the Metro Atlanta area, who was a great defensive freshman tackle for the University of Georgia. Then they added Mason Cobb, an outstanding linebacker from Oklahoma State, and then other pieces. You thought USC would have a much better defense, a defense that would be middle of the pack. But, man, they ranked 90th in the country. And they're going against a Notre Dame team. Granted, last week they only had 20 yards against Louisville rushing. I don't see Notre Dame with a quarterback like Sam Hartman putting up them same numbers 2 weeks in a row. So that being said, SC is going to put some points on the board. Caleb Williams was going to make some plays. It's Saturday night in South Bend. It's on NBC, national television. But my thing is, if USC is really going to be a national championship contender, think about this. When they had Vince Evans, Mike Ray, Pat Hayden at quarterback, and they was winning all those national championships back in the 70s and 80s, and Paul McDonald, they did have great defensive players. Richard Batman Wood, Charles Phillips, Gary Jeter, Ronnie Lott, Dennis Smith, and Joey Browner, and Dennis Thurman. It's time for the Trojan Nation. This is the game right here to get it turned around defensively and play a full game. That's all I'm saying. Lincoln Riley, and you getting paid a lot of money, but man, you're going to only go so far. You maybe can put up 40 points every week, but man, your defense is going to have to slow people down.
Yes, sir. Well said. Well, it's time for the final predictions in this one, and this is going to be an interesting game. We all know the offense for both these teams very good. Defense for Notre Dame is solid. Defense for the USC Trojans so far not so good. Can this be the turning point? We will see. My thoughts on this one, Vincent, I'm going to go with the Trojans winning this one. I still think the offense is going to put up some good work. So for now, I'm going to rock with them until they prove me otherwise. Like I said, been a few close calls, but I think they're going to get the win in this one. Give me USC 48 and give me Notre Dame 41. Once again, another high-scoring ball game. Your final score in this Saturday night showdown.
I agree with you 100%, Mr. Landers. I see a track meet. I see a 4x100. I see points going up at a premium. I'm taking the Trojans. I'm going to roll with you. Trojans 45, Notre Dame 38.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Our predictions, our thoughts on this game between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the USC Trojans. But we want to hear from you, our fans. Put it in the comments who's going to win this game. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube. Drop your comments. Also, check us out on our podcast streaming platform. Go anywhere you like podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio. Once again, we're up there every single week, just an audio version of our shows. As always, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner, a pleasure talking sports with you each and every single week. I've been your host, Logan Landers. We'll talk